Can you receive an immigrant visa to the United States even if you have a serious illness? I'm Erick Widman. I'm an immigration lawyer, and as one of the final key steps of receiving an immigrant visa in your passport, you have to visit a medical doctor designated as a panel physician by the US Embassy, receive a medical exam from one of these authorized physicians, and your consular officer will determine, looking at the medical exam and looking at the totality of the circumstances, if you qualify, if you are admissible to the United States and will not be a public charge. That is one of many factors that they're required to determine to see if you're admissible or not. Are you going to be a public charge to the United States or not? That term public charge is part of the Immigration and Nationality Act. It's an outdated, archaic term, but it's still in the law. And the consular officer interviewing you is required to determine, is it more likely than not that you're going to be primarily dependent on the United States government for support in the future? And it could be in the form of cash, income maintenance payments, or institutionalization, as they call it. Are you going to require support from a institution, a hospital, ongoing expensive support that would render you inadmissible? So their job is to determine if you are going to be a public charge or not. And so the type of illness that you have, and by the way, most everybody has some kind of issue or illness in their lives. Very rare that people are 100% healthy. So most of the time, whatever's afflicting you is not going to make you inadmissible. But there are factors that the consular officer is going to look at in your unique situation that could make an elderly person, for example, more likely to be considered a public charge who has the same medical issue as a younger person. And that's because the consular officer is supposed to look at each individual applicant in the totality of the circumstances. That's the phrase they use. They're supposed to assess your situation, case by case for every applicant, and look at your age, look at your employability, look at, is it likely that you're going to want to get a job? Can you get a job in the future and support yourself? Do you have family members, that's one of the other factors, that can support you? And they look at this holistically, they look at the big picture to see if you are going to be a public charge or not. They're also going to look at your assets, your education, or skills as they assess your unique situation. In addition, they're going to be requiring that your sponsor, petitioner provide an affidavit of support. That's required for everyone, even if your petitioner doesn't have a job. And in that case, you'll definitely need a joint sponsor, which will help show the government that in the event you needed some government assistance, the joint sponsor in that case would pay the government back. So it's a significant responsibility, but the big picture is that you have to show the government that you are admissible, you're not inadmissible based upon your health. And therefore, you're going to want to assess early on what type of health do you have, what type of ongoing issues do you have, and maybe even pursue private insurance before going to your interview. You are going to want to know how expensive is it, how difficult is it to get the care that you need in the United States for your illness. And there are many illnesses that can be managed with medication. And AIDS, for example, used to be an illness that made people inadmissible, and it now is understood it's managed effectively with medication, and it's not something that would keep a person from getting a visa simply because of that illness. This definitely can get complex. Let us know if you have any questions, and take care.